Alright, it's amazing, everyone, how 24 to 48 hours can change things. Really amazing because as soon as the pro-Trump and Patriot Prayer and so forth, militias showed up to restore order in Portland because the governor clearly isn't intending to do so. You've got people getting killed. You've got night after night more and more rioting, looting, and burning. Nothing appears to be done. Ted Wheeler literally rejecting yet another offer from Trump to send the feds in and help. Getting ratioed in the process. Ted Wheeler is a master at that at this point. Keep in mind, again, Twitter is an echo chamber. It is largely liberals and leftists. It is outsizedly pro-open borders, pro-BLM and so forth, and yet Ted Wheeler still ends up getting himself completely fucking trounced in the things that he posts. He's too tech illiterate to understand that he can just limit the comments that come in so that at least it'll look like he's still popular. Probably get his ass politically canned. Anyway, some hundreds or maybe a few thousand pro-Trumpers showed up, and they were roving around in pickup trucks with American flags and Gadsden flags and so forth. Immediately, all of a sudden, all the Democrats started talking about how violent the situation was and how there was terror in the streets and Trump's America is falling apart. It's funny because for 3 months they told me there was no violence at all. And really what it boiled down to was total hypocrisy. The lack of self-awareness here is hilarious. Like, they were talking about these so-called right-wing groups, and some of them probably are just pro-law and order groups that are tired of watching the community burn to the ground. There were some dudes there that were defending their pickup trucks with paintball guns and so forth, less than lethal bear spray, after getting attacked, and people were saying, oh my god, it's Trump's Gestapo, they're rioting in the streets and they're shooting protesters. No, they're defending their vehicles against rioters. I believe that there is indeed castle doctrine there that extends to vehicles. Perfectly legal. It'll be funny to see, though, the DAs will attempt to prosecute those people as opposed to the Antifa members. Anyway, what you've got is a screwy situation. Ted Wheeler once again refusing help. At some point, Trump should just send in the military. At some point, Trump should just say, you know what, fuck it. Obviously, the mayor of Portland's not capable of dealing with the situation. The governor of the state of Oregon is incapable of dealing with the situation. You have a mounting total of casualties. You have billions and billions of dollars in damages. And it's not just there. The other problem is it's basically, here are the cities that are having the most problems. You've got Portland and Seattle are the obvious ones. D.C. and Minneapolis. You've got some in Austin and Atlanta, although not as much. And then you have New York City. Keep in mind at all times, when you see these people rioting, even if they shoot people, which is unfortunately something that does happen, when they throw their little Molotovs and homemade explosives and stuff, keep in mind that this is the fringe of the cringe fringe. This is comprised of people who think that Bernie Sanders is a little bit too far right but tolerable. This is essentially a few thousand politically motivated individuals, a few thousand more people who are pseudo-politically motivated, maybe core BLM, and they're more interested in causing property damage than shooting people, generally speaking. And then you have tens of thousands of looters. The looters aren't motivated by anything but smash and grab. They're just going out there because there are already riots going on and they know the police will be distracted night after fucking night. Ultimately, the pro-Trump militias there, even if you were to take just the actual far right, you would have so much more manpower and firepower than the entire far left could ever muster. And far better training. I mean, 9/10 of the veterans are going to be siding with them. The cops would be siding with them. There will be no civil war. By the way, I must take a little bit of umbrage with Tim Pool once again invoking the specter of civil war. It is not going to happen. The war that you see is essentially a schismatic movement within the Democratic Party. The Democrats have spent the better part of a decade pandering to these people, promising them everything. We're going to close Gitmo. We're going to end every war that was ever started. We're going to de-legislate all the legislation that, cough, cough, we helped to make over the last fucking half century. Don't worry, we'll undo all of that stuff and everything will be hunky-dory, and we'll take all the money from the billionaires and give it to you, and you can have free health care, and you can have free college, and you can have zero debt, and the government will take care of you, and it'll be paradise. But consistently, they've done none of that. They've promised everything to the far left in election after election, whining and dining this cringe fringe of spoiled whining trust fund babies, only to never deliver to them. I don't blame them for being pissed off. I blame them for acts of violence. mainly towards the middle class and the working class. They're going into suburbia. They're not. I noticed they're not harassing Michael Moore in his mansion. I noticed that they got stopped when they tried to enter Beverly Hills. But if they go into the middle class suburbs, Ken and Karen have to come out with an assault rifle. So I can understand the anger, but it's mainly at the DNC for any real political purpose. And once again, it's like the other day Biden releasing this campaign promise. If I'm elected president, I'm going to legalize marijuana and expunge all of the pot arrest records. No, you fucking won't. Talk about an I will close Gitmo moment. Do you really think that the Democrats are going to get rid of all that lucrative money that they get from all that prison labor? They're not going to expunge anyone's record. They want these people to be pariahs because they need more crime. If they were to expunge all the records so that people who are guilty of nonviolent offenses could get a gainful employment finally, so that unemployment was lower and people would get out of the street crime that they need to commit because they're in debt to the white supremacist prison gang or something, if they were to do that, they'd lose all sorts of prisoners. There goes your slave labor. There goes one of your main impetuses, one of the main arguments for gun control, which, by the way, is now a fucking dead issue anyway. Fuck the Democrats and the legacy media for causing this problem. And by the way, fuck Ted Wheeler for basically abandoning the people of Portland to, degeneracy and bombs and flames, while Trump is holding out the laurel of peace. He's saying, I can take care of this problem real lickety-split. It was funny to see, like, Ted Wheeler and other miscreants there pretending like the violence only erupted once the feds arrived before. That's not what happened. Nice gaslighting, but there were 2 solid months of non-stop looting and arson beforehand with hundreds of attendant assaults. And when they say, well, there hasn't been any Antifa member charged with any of these significant crimes, beyond like vandalism or public indecency and stuff. Well, yeah, if the DA is unwilling to prosecute goddamn anyone because they were literally put in there by George Soros, no fucking shit Antifa members are going to get a slap on the wrist fine and turned loose without a criminal record. They're usually released without any bail. It's a pile of fucking bullshit. That's about all. Peace out.